All right. Welcome, everybody. It is August 10th, 2021, and this is the weekly public Cloud Custodian community meeting, a meeting where we come and bring users and contributors together to talk about all things Cloud Custodian, anything from release to sharing tips to all that kind of good stuff. So, welcome, everybody. We have kind of a special announcement that Umair is going to start us off with today. Go ahead, Umair.
Hey everyone, I know most of you have heard about it when we talked about it in the community before. We're actually planning the first Cloud Custodian Day. We are calling it Governance is Code Day with Cloud Custodian in conjunction with KubeCon. It will be a co-located event. The sign-up page is up and there's a call for proposals up too. We definitely want to source as many talks we can from the community itself. The event would be naturally physically in LA with KubeCon, but naturally there's a virtual component as well. Like if you're not able to travel or you're not comfortable travel, like you'll have the same experience attending the event as well. George, you want to copy the link from the notes to the chat window?
That is exactly what I'm doing. So Perfect. Here's the event link is going to be first in the chat. And don't worry, we'll publish all these notes and send them out to the list as usual.
Perfect. So there's a link to sign up. And there's a link for a CFP, like a call for proposals. If you have any questions around, if you want to talk about your case study, you want to talk about anything you recently contributed to Cloud Custodian, things that worked well, things didn't work well, you want to do a best practice session. We're looking for all sort of speakers, and the deadline for that is August 25. There's a form in that link, a Google form, if you're interested in it. Just submit a title and an abstract with us, and we'll review it, and we'll let you know if we can tweak it and how we can accommodate it in the schedule too. The guidelines for the talk is definitely there, but if you want to submit a talk, we would really encourage you to do that. I'm happy to spend 10-15. I'm going to drop my email in there if anyone's interested. I'm happy to spend 10-15 minutes with you to brainstorm ideas and help you submit a topic as well.
Yeah, and we'll be publishing these links obviously in the next notes in a place that's easy for you to find. So hopefully the deadline won't come up and sneak up on you. But let me just encourage everybody. Like, I would love to see lightning talks on how you're breaking things. And we are always hearing great stories about this tool helped me find all this kind of stuff. But I really also want to know. We would love to know your pain points. Just tell us a story. Did you solve something? Did we kill things we weren't supposed to? I don't know. But we always love those kind of stories. And we feel like a Cloud Custodian Day is a great safe spot, right? Where we can talk about, maturely with other developers on how to use the best tool, how to use the tool effectively and in a way that helps you accomplish whatever your goals are at work. So tell us your cloud confessions. It'll be great. These kind of stories are always great. I don't know if any of you have attended a KubeCon or a Cloud Native Con before, but stories about failure and things like that are just absolutely fantastic, and it really just helps move the industry forward. So let me encourage those of you that.
It's a balance, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. I want to hear all.
Your hashtag Cloud Confessions for the naughty things you've done, and then the Cloud Kudos for the cool cloud stuff you've done.
Exactly.
See what I did there?
Exactly. Yeah. So, question: are there workshop and training sessions at the conference?
We're looking into those, but there might, if we have slots, that might be a part of the Cloud Custodian Day itself. Well, depending on the exact number of talks and things we have to talk about, we'll definitely look at those too.
Yeah.
But we are doing this virtually every month, but comes back to that. So we're already doing tons of those, and I think George had a list of those too. A workshop is happening tomorrow. And then September, we have more 101. And then post KubeCon, we'll cover more advanced topics.
Yes.
As well.
So in the notes, and I will publish these to the list. The events I publish in the notes every single week. So just you always have them if you ever need to refer to them. So that will go ahead. And the workshops, we just had one today. We definitely have one tomorrow. Keeps asking about swag. I hear the swag is going to be pretty good, Umair. What do you think?
I think so too.
You'll have to show up. But it is free to register, so check it out. But we'd love to see just a variety of and diverse set of topics for people to submit. And with that, I think Umair has to bail. And we could get started with the normal agenda items. Any questions before he goes?
I don't know if this was already mentioned, but we would love to get submission from people who've never done this before. If it's your first talk, we're trying to encourage that. And if you have any questions about that, we can totally help you through it, because I know it can be really intimidating. So yeah, if you have that desire, you're a little bit like anxious about submitting, we'd encourage you to do it, or reach out to one of us and we can talk about it. So yeah.
And Liz and I will always be happy to help you, right? You want a slide review or something like that, we're always available to help out for whatever you need. All right. And Umair stuck his email there in chat, though, if you have any follow-up questions for him. All right. And with that, let's get to the formal agenda. We have an introduction section that I like to have in this meeting. This is totally optional, but if you're new here or maybe you don't stop by as often and you want to say hello to the group, this is totally optional. You don't have to introduce yourself, but if anyone wants to introduce themselves, they may. I'll go first. My name is George Castro. I'm in Ann Arbor, Michigan. He, him, his. And I was brought in by Kapil to kind of help organize things like these community meetings and all of the community resources that we have. And basically my job is to ensure that you can use Cloud Custodian to do whatever it is you want it to do. Anyone else want to say hello?
I guess I'll go. My name is Liz. Pronouns are she, her, hers. I am based in San Francisco, California. So actually in the city, amazingly. I am the developer advocate at Stacklet. I work closely with George, and very similar, my job is to make sure that y'all are getting the support that you need in order to use and contribute to Cloud Custodian the most successfully. So yeah, so happy to. I see Carl, my friend, is here. Hi, Carl.
Hey, Liz, how are you guys?
We're good. We're good. We're getting started.
Anyone else want to say hello?
I'll say hi. AJ, he, his, in New Jersey, and I've worked with Cloud Custodian for a few years, used it to fix and break plenty of things in that time. And yeah, that's about it.
Anyone else? Last call? Rohit's chosen the text-only chat introduction. Hello. All right, and with that, we'll get started. We have agenda.
No, I couldn't be older school than if I used amber displays and write it out on a BBS. But thanks for letting me join on.
No worries. All right, so we do have an agenda for each meeting. This agenda is open. I posted the URL to the HackMD. You can always just add your agenda there at the bottom. And as I see someone is typing, so anytime you want us to cover something in this meeting, you can either reach out to me. If you don't want to deal with any of this, you just tell me. I can put an agenda on there, or literally in the middle of the meeting while it's happening. You can also tag something at the bottom, which is totally fine. The format is flexible. So first things first, we always have an open call for demos. I would certainly love to liven up the meeting every once in a while with someone showing something off. So if you do have a demo, please get a hold of me ahead of time and we can do something. I was talking to Jose before the call. Maybe you'll have something for us soon. Wink, wink. I was hoping he'd commit, but we'll see. So we definitely have a slot there for demos. If someone wants to show something cool, just let me know. Regular weekly dot sprint sessions. These are happening every Friday. Myself, Carl, and Liz have been doing these. We worked on our second pull request last week, and we've now effectively removed all the $ things from the prompt. So as you copy and paste commands, that should be much easier. We picked something easy to kind of get the workflow down, learn how to build the docs using a tool called Tox, which I've been learning about, and mostly just kind of going through the motions, submitting a PR, and see what that contributor workflow goes through. Someone pinged us for this week, they would like to see us document this, and I wanted to throw this out to the group, which is how to add a delay in Cloudtrail mode. I don't remember who asked us to document this, but I've bookmarked it. Anyone have any color on this one? I think this was one of those, someone in Gitter was like, hey, this is too confusing. Take a look.
Yeah, I just added the answer in chat. But
Perfect.
so yeah, we should probably just document it. Oddly, this was a very common request for years that I resisted because delays in Cloudtrail mode effectively get very ugly very quickly because they're inherently racy. But most resources at this point have gotten the ability to tag. The most common reason for this was, but we eventually did add it. It is there. It is effectively just adding a delay seconds, a number of mode. Keep in mind that you will be paying for the Lambda execution while you're sleeping. So, there is that. There are other non-cloud, like generally, if you're looking at delays, it's always a good question to ask yourself, why are we doing a delay? And do I really need to do this as a delay? Is this more appropriate as a pull-based policy? Is this more appropriate with another event execution mode?
That is excellent. So as you could tell, the Friday documentation session will be basically transcribing everything that he said and adding a little bit more context. Thanks for that. Making my job a little bit easier. You did ask a question. Does it have to be related to Cloud Custodian about the demos? What do people want to do for the demos? Do you want to see Cloud Custodian only? Do you want to see related things to it? I mean, obviously, we don't want to stray too far off topic for people. And anyone have strong opinions on this? We could just see how it goes.
I mean, I guess just see how it goes. Just like see what people want to demo and like go from there, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
That sounds great. All right. Anything else? Sorry.
Sorry, George. No, I've got a couple of questions on things, wondering if they might be useful as demos, and why not talk it through live?
Ooh, absolutely.
So one was, we had a question in Gitter recently about the quickest way to kind of play with value filters, the James path expressions. When people are saying, "Oh, we want to just go explore this. I want to see. I'm writing this kind of deep James path expression, and I don't really know what it's going to match ahead of time. So how do I just kind of explore that way?" And I mean, we could bring in some external tools to make that a little bit nicer. And so that could be an interesting demo if somebody's interested in it. I would commit to giving that demo, at least one angle on it, if that's useful. And also we've talked about some things with like exploring policies in VS Code, things like that, just different setups that can help you there.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. I say we do
Those
one.
are
Do one
tangential.
next week or the week after.
All right,
I'll sync up with you and we'll find a time. Yeah.
cool.
Anyone else want to think aloud about a demo?
I think that demo is totally topical. Like,
Yeah.
you're writing custodian policies, you're dealing with Jamie's path all the time. So something that helps people make hay with that. Like it might even be useful to, you could even frame it in the context of custodian. Like, I want to write a policy with some JMS path expression. How do I start? Well, I dump all the resources and then I use X tool to do it, or other framing around that. I think that sounds great.
Yeah. And after you do one, everyone won't feel so nervous about being the first one to go. Because what I like to do is take the demos out of each one and make a little playlist on the YouTube channel. And then that becomes our tips and tricks kind of thing. That would definitely be cool. All right. Any other feedback on demos? All right. Moving on to contributor guide. Liz, you added this about local dev environments and contribute.html here.
Yeah. So yeah, Carl and I met up or linked up virtually earlier this week and talked about excuse me, and talked about different ways, or opportunities for improvement when in the contributor docs for Cloud Custodian. And just like ways to reduce some of the friction and ambiguity for folks who are maybe pretty new or new-ish to open source contributing. So yeah, it might just be a matter of kind of taking inventory and consolidating everything and making it a lot more easily discoverable. So yeah, we just had ideas about that, places where we can maybe create tutorials for hands-on experience getting started, like some kind of hello world thing, maybe for different example policies. Yeah, tutorials, videos, anything, more diagrams, anything that can help make these easier to discover and consume. So yeah, that is our idea. And like I said, it might be as simple as just like taking inventory, consolidating and reorganizing things. But yeah, that's our idea. It would be interesting to hear from folks maybe really quickly, like if there's anything that you wish the contributor docs had more of or less of, or maybe you're totally fine with them. But if you want to if you want to talk about it really quick, or just let me know in the chat, I'd be really interested in getting that information.
Sorry about the screen share. That was my bad. All right. Any questions and opinions on this? I know we talk about this weekly during our doc sprint. So if you have any strong opinions there, you know where to find Liz and I. Kapil, I think who added this? Make a release of Cloud Custodian live. I know we had talked about this before.
Yeah.
I have released stuff on the backlog, but I'll just move it up.
I was figuring, why not? And why not do it recorded and live and convey more on how it gets done? How do we make sausage? Where do the horses come from?
Yeah. So what are you feeling? You said you typically release any day not on a Friday. Is that what you're?
Yeah, I meant doing it right now.
Oh, you want to just? We could bin the PR review and just do a release live. How does everyone sound for that? That'd be freaking awesome. Okay. All right. Before we start that though, does anyone have any other agenda items? Because I get the feeling that will just take up the rest of our time, which is fine. All right. With that, how do you want to do this? You want to share your screen or? Let me stop this. You're muted, Kapil.
Thank you.
There we go.
All right, so I'm in the repo. I'm in the upstream. I actually do a separate checkout just in case I have any working copy turds of any kind. I get a reasonably clean status. Those are all fine. That's part of the release process itself. One random turd. And so first process is to make some draft release notes. Well, first actually pull. Okay, so and then figure out what the last release was. And I think it was 9.12. So we have a little script here which generates our change log.
Is this a custom script or one of those common tools that people use?
This is totally custom.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask you questions just randomly throughout the?
Yeah. So this will actually download the Docker image of the last release and use some of the output of the built-in command line documentation we have around Custodian schema and figure out all the, it'll look at commit history, merge PRs, and then do an actual resource diff on the actual changes. So path is the repo, output will be changelog.d. And so it's saying there's been 31 commits since that release, and those are the different topic areas around it. And we can just look at it. Sorry, I should edit it. Occasionally, it gets like 90% of the stuff, but we can get little one-offs that are a little bit of formatting. And then you get the schema changes stuff down here, which shows you like which actual things got added or removed in the release. That actually looks pretty light. Okay, and then the next part of the process is we release with everything that's driven out of the make file. This is actually all documented in the release docs under the developer section. So when we go to actually release to PyPy so people can install the exact same version in a year, we actually completely freeze the dependency graph because otherwise there'll be not every sub-dependency obeys semantic versioning correctly. And otherwise, before we did this, people would install a release and they might not be able to install it in 3 months later if they were using PyPy versus Docker, which ships frozen as well. Okay, so the next part is running package freeze setup, which freezes all the setup.pys.
Does anyone have, you mentioned you have this documented. Anyone have the URL for that? I just want to make sure we get that in the notes in the developer install section.
Sure. No, not that one. I think it's called packaging. Yeah, packaging Custodian, bottom line.
I found it. Got it. All right. I will toss this in chat.
Right. So that actually creates all these frozen setups. So if we were to look at the diff, we now see that instead of being like genericized things, it's actually like, hey, you need exactly this. Or yeah, as an example, like JSON schema. And that's just to help prevent any issues in the dependency trees. We have packages like the Azure SDK is ginormous, like hundreds of things. So the next thing we're going to run is this package publish wheel. This is actually going to run in, this is actually going to basically create packages, upload them to test PyPy, which is a test installation, publicly run test installation of PyPy, and then go download some of the packages to make sure that we are able to install correctly, all that stuff. I would say, generally speaking, you'd also want to test the last nightly functional tests that run in Azure DevOps, but I've already done that, so I'm going to leave that aside for right now. There is one gotcha, something in Azure that wants to foobar Win32 and not properly say that Win32 dependency is only for if you're on Windows. So I basically just manually remove that one. And then we can say make package publish wheel. Let me just make sure that my file is saying yes. So we default, you can see it, it's set up a test PyPy. It's by default. And so this will build the wheels, build all the packages. Wheels are Python's distribution format. It's basically a zip file. And it'll then run various like scanning checks, which like that one, which did not pass. Which that was for 20. Let me just make sure I'm frozen on the right version for everything.
About how long does it take to build?
Under a minute.
Okay.
Looks like we weren't quite on the same versions as our frozen setups. And it's doing all the checks. We publish about 8 or 9 different packages, basically all of these things. And those are now uploaded into test.py. And I always forget the exact URL for using test.py. So test using test.py. So it requires a particular syntax.
You increase the font there just a bit.
Oh,
you're
so
fine.
okay. And so now I'm going to create a fresh virtual env, test custodian release, and then activate that one. And okay, so now I'm going to install Custodian. And sure it runs.
Do you ever let it bake and test PyPy for a while?
Not really, because
Okay.
effectively it's test.py doesn't get any usage and most people are actually explicitly using it. So it doesn't. The baking in test.py serves no useful purpose outside of active tests. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Anyone else has questions while we're at this step?
There was an interesting little thing about you here. So that looks like something we should stick a GitHub issue in for. And so the other part of this, so I've now uploaded to test.py. Everything looks good. I've installed it a few times. If I have some credentials, I could. Well, that's. I guess I can't really do this while it's backgrounding. Oh, well, maybe I can. No, maybe I can. Okay, so that's done, and now I will take those release notes that we just made and create a new release on the Cloud Custodian repo. And draft new release 0.9.13.0, actual release name. We don't bother with the patch. Those are the release notes. Preview, all looks good. And I'll save the draft there. You can't actually see this URL unless you, I guess, have write access to the repo. Just how GitHub works. But when I hit publish on this, it will actually create the tag. So I'm going to now do what I just did. Actually, I'm going to make a quick policy to just test it. Works okay. Lambdas, yeah. Yay, everything worked. Okay, so now you can do this via makefile variable. You don't actually have to edit the makefile, but be lazy and republish out to PyPy, public PyPy. And once, what happened? Twine command not found. Oh, that's right. Sorry. didn't deactivate. I didn't. I had switched out my virtual environment when I was testing the package. And the test one didn't have all those build tools.
Any questions while we're watching progress bars?
Go ahead and
It's just good to see the sausage being made here.
Yeah,
We're all
exactly.
going to go upgrade Custodian and run our test policies after this.
And I'm also going to hit up Gitter, like, and drop the link to the changelog. And voila, we have release.
And the 9.9.13 is now released. Excellent.
Okay.
All right. Anyone have any questions about that policy? Ideally, as we move forward, a medium and long term would be other people being able to release as well, like other open source projects. So, and AJ wants to say, call back to last week. Any pipx users can run pipx upgrades C7N to get .913. I told everyone I would try pipx, but I have not yet done so. But that is on my list. Anybody else have any questions? That was like 10 minutes. So,
and fun random note, PyPy is written on a web framework called Pyramid, and I happen to be wearing that Pyramid t-shirt.
I was gonna say I haven't seen that shirt in a long time. So that's good. All right, and with that kind of live section kind of covered that part of the meeting. Just a reminder again, there's a workshop tomorrow, CFPs for Cloud Custodian Day. I've got those links in the notes, and I will be basically adding those links to anything that we're announcing over the next few weeks to remind everyone. Does anybody else have any other agendas? We do have some backlog stuff, but like Marco isn't here yet. He was on holiday and things like that, so we can punt that till next time. Other than that, I'm ready to give you over 25 minutes back. Any last comments?
Yeah, so this is Akif Sheikh here from Code 42.
Hello.
Hi. So I was wondering about the AWS reInvent conference. Do we plan as a cloud custodian team to go there? Do we plan to have any sessions? Have you thought about those things?
Yes, we are currently in planning for reInvent right now. I think we are, and so the notion from a we'll probably target a full cloud custodian day for KubeCon, just because they have that as part of their DNA. For reInvent, we will probably run something as a separate track, but it would probably be like a one-day, half-day type of thing at the beginning of the conference. Just like reInvent, it's not really as easy to do because, especially since it's expanded to the whole full week is basically taken up by events, and that's mostly on the main track. So we are trying to do something around reInvent. We know that's where lots of users are. We'll also I will also be at Reinforce with some of the other folks here as well. If anyone wants to meet up at Reinforce as well, just DM me on Gitter or Twitter or whichever mechanism. But so yes, we are planning something for reInvent. It's still TBD on what that is, how big that scope is from a community type of event.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? All right, as usual, it'll take about 24 hours for us to prep the video and publish them, and we'll publish the notes at the usual place and check out the list. And with that, thank you, everybody, and we'll see everybody next week. And if you're interested in doing the doc sprint, I'll announce that in Gitter, or you can always ping me on the chat. And with that, thank you, everyone. Happy day is it? It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday.